If you can't already tell, my library is in desperate need of an organization. I have been putting this off for weeks and weeks, and I needed to reorganize it like yesterday. But since I didn't, here I am today reorganizing all of my bookshelves again. Also, if you saw my last big organization bookshelf video, when I got these bookshelves, which by the way, they're from IKEA, they're the Billy bookcases. I believe they're in the color oak. I displayed some of my paperbacks standing upright in the front, and it definitely has, like, I don't want to say warped, but warped some of the paperbacks. So I wanted to switch around some of the paperbacks that I was using for display with some hardbacks that will better stand upright on their own. But without further ado, let's get into organizing because I got a lot to do. As you can see, my bookshelves are looking real rough, and it's kind of embarrassing to see the point that they got to. For my other bookshelf, it's looking a lot better, but I want to shift out to these Carvel editions with something less Christmassy. But now onto the organization themselves. I'm starting off with my romance section. What really needed to be fixed was my Jessa Hastings shrine. Yeah, I've been storing a lot of other books here, but I had to change up my organization of the shelf because initially I had all the larger paperbacks displayed, but they just don't hold up or stand up very well, as seen by Into the Dark. But I have these special editions of the Magnolia Park series that I'm going to use to actually display and reignite my Jessa Hastings shrine. And now on to my Emily Henry shrine, which honestly, it doesn't look great, but it wasn't that disorganized. It took me like a few minutes to organize it and make it look pretty again. But I'm super happy with how the romance shelves of my bookshelves look. I love how they turned out, and I still have room to grow in this genre as well. And now onto my fantasy shelves. This one in particular I struggled with a little bit. This one holds the majority of my Stephanie Garber books, which, yes, I have a ton of. She's one of my favorite authors. And it's also going to hold some of my fantasy standalone books and incomplete fantasy paperback series that I have. I just haven't got the rest of the series yet. But yeah, you're going to see me tinker around more with this shelf in particular throughout the video. So just know this is not the final way of how I organized everything. And yeah, I'm struggling to keep these paperbacks upright. My floors are so uneven. But now onto the other fantasy shelf. This holds a lot of my hardback fantasy books and series. And I found another one that should be over here, so I'm just putting it back over there. Like I mentioned, I tinker around with this shelf in particular a lot because I wasn't exactly happy with how it looked, and also I just kept on finding more and more books around to put in that particular shelf. these are the 2 complete fantasy shelves so far. Moving further down, this is where I have a lot of my paranormal and dystopian fantasy books, so all of my Twilight books. And I have an Italian version of Twilight. And I also have the movie cover edition of Twilight as well. As you can see, the pages are warping because I had it standing upright in my last organization. Now onto my paperback fantasy series. Also just showing off some trinkets that I have. But this shelf has a lot of my fantasy paperback series where I have the complete set of all the series. And found another book that should be on this shelf. And as you can see, I have a ton of room to grow on this shelf, which means more books. This is my general fiction shelf and the stack of books that I have to put back. This one stayed the same for the most part. I did move around some books just so that they stand up better in this shelf because it's not a fully packed in shelf. Now onto my mystery thriller books. This one also stayed the same for the most part. Now moving further down to my classics. This one also stayed the same for the most part. I'm just putting back books that I grabbed for content and videos. Now onto my special edition bookshelf, which holds some of my special editions, but I'm just moving around some of the editions to change up the way that they were currently displayed. And this is what it looks like for the completed book organization. And this is what my larger bookshelves look like. My romance section, my Emily Henry shrine, right next to my Jessa Hastings shrine, and then my hardback fantasy books, my Stephanie Garber books, and paperback fantasy books, my paperback fantasy series, and one standalone, and my paranormal dystopian fantasy books, my general fiction books, next to my mystery thriller books, and down below my classics. But yeah, this is what my completed organization looks like.